Hi everyone. It's Sarah from the Support Worker Store. Today I've got Daniel from Jigsaw Australia. Daniel, how you going?
Yeah, doing really well. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me on the show here.
Easy, because we have a background story, and I know I didn't put this in the questions, but I love a good how you met somebody story. We actually met each other at a networking event in the city. I think it was a Tanya Gomez birthday event. And then we kept running
Exactly.
into each other at Able Plus, and I think a few things in between. So I felt like it was fate saying to me that I had to get you on the podcast.
Oh, excellent. I love a good story as well. One of the things I remember when from the first night we met was your conversational style. I love the back and forth, the conversation, and taking things where they go. Not things that are real scripted, but yeah, just being in life. And I always enjoyed that. And I do feel like it was just more than coincidence that we just kept running into each other
Yep.
a few times in a row. And I learned a lot. I don't have a great memory for a lot of things, but I do remember, meeting you, some of the stories that we shared. That we just had some really great conversations. And then you probably remember because you have a great memory. When we were at one of the Able Plus or with the Able Plus thing, we got to be partnered up for our elevator pitch,
Yes.
and we got to present that to each other and and really critique each other. Uh, So tomorrow, this is actually, I think it's kind of fascinating. So I'm meeting with my manager tomorrow to work on
Yep.
my elevator pitch again. And the last time I worked on it was at Able Plus back when we were partnered up together. Good timing.
Look, I learnt a lot from that because I'm so used to being the person that listens and not pitches what I do. So it was so strange to do something a little bit different, to actually put yourself out there and, explain what you do in front of an audience, where beforehand I'd be listening to people and then adding into conversations where I felt like I could give, or, I could work with somebody and network with them. So it is completely different to what I've ever done. But since we're on elevator pitch, can you give me one of yours? Because I now you got me curious.
See now, Sarah, you put me on the spot, and I'll give you a brief one. This is
Go for it.
going to be changed by it's going to be changed by tomorrow because we're going to revise it a little bit. But because you asked me, and I don't want to waste an opportunity. Yeah, here we go. And then you could critique it as much as
You
you
got
want, or
this.
anybody out there listening to the podcast. So yeah, yeah. Thanks, Sarah, having this conversation. It's really a pleasure to be here chatting with you. Just real quick, I just want to tell you real quick what I do and how much I love it. I really love my job with Jigsaw Australia. We do fantastic work and really transformative in the lives of others. It's a team effort, and my role in that is to guide organizations and work with the organizations to effectively hire people with disability to create opportunities for them to be inclusive in society, but also to include to enhance their independence. So that's what I do. I don't like my elevator pitch now, so that's why it's going to change tomorrow. Uh,
Did
I didn't get
put
that
you
one,
on the spot, and
just like
I'm
last
sorry.
time.
I was so cheeky.
Oh, this is such a good opportunity. And last time we did this, we were having that conversation, and last time we worked really well together because I think both of us were as likely nervous. But I put something together, and I rambled, and then you gave some good insight, and then I came back and I was able to do it again, and something that was, I think, much more cohesive and much more inspiring. And I remember, Sarah, I remember this from when we chatted. This was, when do you think that was? February?
Yeah.
That's probably in February. And you said, "Oh, one of the things, Dan, I liked about your elevator pitch wasn't so much of what you do. Yes, that was important, but you liked how I said I loved my job." And then when
Yeah.
I started with "I loved my job," you said that struck a chord with you. So I always try to incorporate that now into all of my elevator pitches in some
Well,
way.
it says something when someone can say that I love what I do and I enjoy what I do, and I feel like that resonates with people, because you don't always hear that what people love doing and why they enjoy doing it. So to hear it out loud, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not always part of an elevator pitch, but I think it's important for that rapport
Yeah.
and the work that we do, both at Jigsaw Australia, the support worker store, and an effective NDIS provider, anybody who interacts with humans. but is to provide that opportunity for the other person to share what they love or don't love about their job or about what they're doing.
So,
So,
with your elevator pitch, you pretty much told a little bit, but I want to go a little bit further. Can you tell us about your job at Jigsaw and all about what you do? At if you had to say what do you do at Jigsaw in particular?
yeah, I'd be happy to. First, I want to say a little bit about what Jigsaw Australia is and what the organization is, and it'll make it a little bit easier to identify and to define what my role is with that. But Jigsaw it's a really innovative social enterprise. It's been around for about 10 or 15 years now in the disability sector, and we're an organization that provides it provides a pathway, but what it is it's a pathway for people with disability to be fully included in the workforce. So we provide a comprehensive pathway support from education and training in our academy portion. We do on-the-job experience and work experience, some of that and much of that which is paid at award wage. And then the third part is our connect, and that's the support of an individual as they transition from our training program into open employment. We support both the individual and also the hiring organization, the employee, so that they get the ability to work with and develop the skills of how do you employ somebody with a disability, because there's no really playbook, there's no rule book. Things are always changing, both in people and also technology. And so what worked maybe a year ago may not work today. And so because of that, we're a comprehensive pathway. So what does that mean then in terms of my job and what do I do? I'm a client engagement manager throughout Australia. I work with companies to effectively partner with Jigsaw to develop not only roles but opportunities for people with disability that come from our Jigsaw pathway. Trainees, after they've come through our program and then they transition, then we typically provide pretty intensive support early on transition, and then it steps back to just regular check-ins after about, certainly within 3 months, we're just doing regular check-ins, a lot of times just phone call check-ins. But to do that, the organizations out there, they don't always feel comfortable, they don't always feel confident, they don't always have the right people, I guess, to support somebody to be successful in employment. And so part of my job as the client engagement manager is, one, to go find opportunities. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're a hiring manager, you're HR, and you have some work that needs to be done, consider people with a disability. We'll talk throughout this podcast about the value of that, but I think there's a real gold mine of opportunities there that the society is missing out on. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I think, Sarah, that the conversation will go on. But my role is to help those organizations to identify those roles and then to successfully work together. We're tools in it. We're encouraging, but it's really about the participants. It's really about the individual going through our program, their journey that we're there to support. And so we're just doing whatever we can to put those supports and those guides and anything that'll build their confidence so that they can succeed and adapt. And so that's my role, is really work with the organizations with whatever they need to succeed in hiring our trainees to permanent employment.
So, what do you love most about your role?
There's so much that I love. The thing that I love the most, the absolute most, is certainly the people and the transformation that I get to see on a daily basis. I take it for granted most times. We have, just time after time after time, these transition success stories in individuals, but not only the individuals, in their lives. We have parents. I have parents that I don't really even know. I know the trainee, and I know the trainee going through work, but I'll get a message from their parents maybe 6 months later saying, "Oh, thank you for the support that Jigsaw has provided. Our son or our daughter is a completely different person now. Their energy level is higher. Their confidence is higher. They're going out into the community. They're involved in the theater. They're involved in the community service. They're going to social groups, even interacting with friends more online. But they just seem like a completely different person." And so it's that transformation. That's what I love the most about what we do. And it's so much more than just being along for a short little glimpse of somebody's success story in their employment, but it's being a lot around for the entire journey and then watching them grow. you'll see, you've seen on probably on some of my LinkedIn posts, I've been doing a Feel Good Friday every Friday, just trying to, it's not always a success story for a Jigsaw trainee, but a lot of times it is. And it's, again, just to try to share some of those things that I get to experience almost every day from the real value that people with disability provide to the workforce and to their teams. Um, so that's what I love about my job.
So, how did you get into your job? Like, how did it happen for you? Because you have been in the disability sector for some time. So tell me about your calling.
When I've been asked a number of times,
Yeah.
if I go back to probably maybe about 3 years old. So when I was about 3 years old, we had a family friend who, at the time, she was probably in her 20s. Uh, yeah, she must have been in her 20s. I was three. She had cerebral palsy and used a wheelchair. And she couldn't talk. She could make noise with her mouth, but no audible words or anything else. But yeah, I have memories of this, but then we also have a couple photographs and an excellent photograph that I love of just being next to her in her wheelchair
Yeah.
and just cracking up, right? Laughing harder than I've laughed in a long time. But Angela and I had this just this excellent connection. And again, she never talked. She could never say anything, but she could communicate. And back at 3 years old, I was able to pick up on these different ways of communicating that I probably wasn't even aware of then. I'm not certainly aware of now. But I think that was kind of the impetus for connecting with people that had a disability and the positive component and the recognition of the humanity side of them or the human side of them. And this was certainly encouraged by my parents. My parents, they were friends with Angela and her family. There were a few other people that we did respite care for some families with disability. With their kids, the family would bring the person with the disability to our house, and they would spend the weekend with us while the family got some respite. And so my parents were very, they introduced us to it, but also made it a very real part and just very normal part of growing up. So that foundation was certainly there. But then I think I went a different direction. Sarah, I went the direction of probably most people, and that's I really, although I was a good person and would acknowledge people with disability. I would, I was even a support worker for a little bit in college and my uni years. But back then, it was just a way to make money. It was patting myself on the back. Yeah, I'm a good guy. Look at me helping the people with disability. And I went through that stage. I think most people probably stay in that stage, which is something that I'm glad that I moved beyond. And what I moved beyond too was after uni, after even getting my master's, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I knew I wanted to help people, but I'm kind of an existential crisis moving forward. And I was working for a hospital. And at the hospital, I was working in one of the logistics departments for patient transport internally. And we had, again, it was my first interaction of working with people with disability and all different types of disability, but it's the first time I really remember interacting with somebody that was autistic. And I did not know what to do. I had no problem treating them being nice, but I had no idea how to engage. I had no idea how to interact. I had no idea to have a relationship. But we had a really, really wonderful program at Mercy Hospital in St. Louis. Dana Nichols, who's now Dana Brodeur, is the mastermind of that. But she developed a really, really wonderful program which trained all the workers in the hospital how to work with somebody with a disability and really showcased why they were valuable and not just a good thing to do. And it was from Dana that I really developed that love for, and not only the love, it's where I really caught fire for, wow,
Yeah.
people with disability, they offer so much that I was missing out on. They were incredible for the work that they did, what they brought to the team. And it was when, going back to it, the major barrier in all of that, the major barrier that I saw and then I eventually wanted to do something about wasn't training people with disability in the workplace. It was preparing a workplace for employing somebody with a disability.
Yeah.
And when Mercy Hospital did that and demonstrated that, and I could see the effect and the amazing transformation of that approach, I was hooked. I was
Yeah.
hooked. So
So
that was a while back now. So there's been a lot of things to lead up to this point, but that
yeah,
was the foundation
yeah.
for getting into employment with people with disabilities.
So you've had hospitals, you've had government, you've had community jobs. Which one taught you the most?
Yeah, I'm really, really tempted to just take the easy way out and say, oh, they all taught me something. I learned something from all of them, which is certainly true. But the one that has taught me the most is probably been working at Jigsaw the past 3 years. I think that's been what's taught me the most. And the reason I say that is because in that amount of time, I've seen the largest amount of change in the sector, both for good and for bad. But I've never seen the sector change so quickly,
Yeah.
and to be having to be so adaptable while at the same time trying to provide a structure for people who need structure and repetitiveness and a routine, and some predictability. And so to provide that in a world that does not have a lot of that right now. But to see, and the reason I say the most I've learned is I've seen Jigsaw Australia over the past 3 years since I've been involved to adapt, to make changes. We've had a change of leadership. Our CEO and founder, Paul Brown, he stepped aside. He's still part of our board, but he's no longer steering the ship in our CEO role. Fighting Chance, which had Laura O'Reilly, who's also our founder, she's not nearly as involved as she used to be. At each of the levels of each of the hubs, we've had different people in really key positions move on or move to a different role, including myself. I've moved to several different roles as well. But to watch it and to see that it still works, not just because of one person, but because of who's involved, because of the mission, and a mission at Jigsaw that's both very clear of we want to ensure people with disability are fully included in the workforce. That's it. We just want to make sure that they're fully included in the workforce. Now it's up to us who are working there now and the participants, et cetera, is, well, what's that mean? How do we get there? What do we do with that? Well, that's what we have to figure out as we go. But the mission is really, really clear.
So when I was deep diving into your LinkedIn profile, like I do with everybody that I get into the podcast to make sure that I've got enough information, because it's kind of like doing a background check, yeah, because I don't let everyone on. What does a business development lead actually do? And like in real life, what does it do? It not just LinkedIn chit chat. What is it? What does it do? Can you tell me more?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now this is something that I've had quite a few conversations with a number of different people that are close to me, my partner, my manager, other people that I friends, people who I would consider as mentors. Is what title best represents, or what title should I strive for in what I do? And all of these titles are thrown around: business development manager, business development lead, client engagement specialist, client engagement lead, client engagement manager. I know they mean something. I know that titles are important. I would rather just not get caught up on what titles are, what title says. It's important, and I get that. But to me, the most important thing is what is going to be the best way to engage other people in buying into our mission? How can other people become involved to help our trainees? How can other people involved to kind of line the pathway, to cultivate the pathway? So what does a business development manager, or business development lead, or a client engagement manager at Jigsaw do in my role? It's what I talked about a little bit earlier, and that's we create and we engage in the community, in businesses specifically, really to partner with Jigsaw to enhance these pathways. We work we're the point of contact. So, for instance, we have a great partnership with the Macmillan Shakespeare. Macmillan Shakespeare is the parent company of Plan Partner, another plan management organization. But we've had a really nice partnership with them, doing some inclusion employment. They've hired and done some placements for up to right now. They've done 8 10-week placements. My role in that has been to work directly with Macmillan Shakespeare. Whenever they have a question, whenever they need something, they could call up and say, Dan, this is what's going on. Dan, this is what we need. Or Dan, this is the training that we think we might have. Or we have one of your trainees and they really seem to be really, really anxious. They've been getting really anxious the past 2 shifts that the staff's just concerned. What do we do? And so the client engagement manager is just that. I may not know everything about all of our trainees, day-to-day things of what make them nervous. Our team does for sure, but me as an individual might not. But I want the organizations that we work with. So Macmillan Shakespeare's one, Allianz Insurance is another one, Australian Unity Insurance. We have a store in a Bunnings store in Hawthorne, just outside of Melbourne, that we work really closely with. And so all of those people, my role is to be that one point of contact for them to be their to help guide them, to be their solutions architect, to be their cheerleader, to be their disability inclusion coach. But whatever they need, I'm the one-stop shop for them to contact. And then I rely like crazy
Yeah.
on the Jigsaw team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to wrap it all up, client engagement manager is that one point of contact to help
Yeah.
organizations to engage with Jigsaw and to benefit from the trainees that Jigsaw has.
So if I take this in a support worker's perspective, what might a support worker not know about how big an organization like Jigsaw runs?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that I've learned too from doing support work both in uni.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Australia, I was a sole trader for support work, and then worked for another very large provider before my time at Jigsaw. And what I learned was the bigger the organization, the harder it is to be personalized in the care that they provide and the support that they provide. So that's one. It's just it's not again, it's not meant to be a judgment of it. It's just a fact. The bigger you are, the less time and the less you can focus on individuals. And that goes for the support workers. Jigsaw, this is I think it's a fascinating story of how Jigsaw was created. We are part of the Fighting Chance umbrella. Fighting Chance is our parent organization. Fighting Chance was founded by Jordan and Laura O'Reilly, the same ones who actually founded Higher Up. So a lot of people are familiar with Higher Up, it's an online job matching service. And we founded for similar reasons, but Fighting Chance was founded so that people such as their brother Shane grew up with cerebral palsy, was in a wheelchair. His communication or his talking wasn't as clear. His mobility was limited comparatively. And just because of those two things, just because of the talking and the mobility, the barriers that he faced in society were tremendous.
Yeah.
So Jordan and Laura, who same upbringing, same parents, same neighborhood, had this beautiful upbringing, so many opportunities. Their brother Shane, despite all the efforts, was met with barrier after barrier after barrier. And they said that the family said, ultimately, when he was in care, he'd get a support worker, and then he wouldn't know what the support worker that was coming that day. He would never know which one was coming. He liked some of them he didn't like, but it was never consistent. And I think that's what you get with larger support organizations is just a real pool of support workers. And it's logistically impossible to just keep one with one or to predict who's going to be on the different shifts. And it's probably gotten better with the technology and some of with the AI, but the reality is that Shane was just really, really frustrated with the support workers because he didn't know. And so
it's a good story.
Jigsaw was
It's a really I did see this on, I think it was Instagram the other day, a carousel, and I was like, what a beautiful story, like as a founder, like to why you open a business and why you run your why. I remember sliding through going, this is like, yeah, the intentions of what they put out into the community and what they've brought so far is really something to be noted and something to be really proud of. So Working with Jigsaw, what is one of the projects that makes you the most proud? Oh, so if you had to pick just one.
Really hard to just identify a project. For me, I think the development of the Connect program.
Yeah.
And the Connect program is our program that connects the trainees from their training at Jigsaw and transitions them and then provides the transition support into employment. There was a team of us. I think I was the third person on the team in Australia to join the Jigsaw Connect team, and then it quickly grew. We had I think we had up to 10 or 12 of us on the Connect team throughout Australia until recently. And then due to the budget cuts a lot of organizations went through, we were not immune to that. Um, we downsized our Connect team as well. But to me, that developing the Connect network and seeing Connect in action, and for me, Connect wasn't just our team, it was a mindset of connecting the individuals from Jigsaw and that really safe and that really place that they really developed their skills. But another reason that I'm really proud of it is in the disability employment sector. What's something I've seen and something I've experienced with a lot of different individuals is in the training space or in the safe space of a provider such as Jigsaw, which is an amazing place to work. Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and you're near any one of our hubs in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, or Canberra, stop in and see one of our hubs in action. They're
Can you
incredible.
buy stuff like from the hub?
No, that's something else. That's a different part. We could talk about that a little bit. That's our Avenue program. Avenue is a parting Fighting Chance as well. Fighting Chance has four or five. It has five different pillars, and each pillar focuses on a different aspect of disability inclusion. Jigsaw is the pillar that focuses on employment. 100% focus on employment. Avenue is it's almost like a day service or a day program, but it's a community inclusion program. I mean, but they do crafts and they do profit sharing for different activities that they do. So they work together and they develop things that are sold at markets and things that can be sold online. And those things, I don't know if you could buy them directly from the hub, but I know you could go in and put an order in at the hub.
Yeah. So, in your
So
time, you have been a trainer. What is the best tips you've got for teaching people how to learn new skills?
great. As a trainer, this goes for anybody who's doing training in life, an educator, a coach, a parent, a mentor, a friend, or somebody who is a trainer at an organization like Jigsaw Australia. And to me, there are three really, well, one, the first bottom line component is just respect and like recognition that somebody is a human and somebody that they're a person. So just bottom line that they're a person, they're not a machine, they're not just a disposable item, but just one that recognition or acknowledgement of humanity. So I'm just going to put that as an assumption, and I already presume that you got that. Put that aside. But really practical skills. I think it's a three-part process. One, identify the goal and the outcome. Where are you working to? What are you working towards? I mean, it could be big picture. We're working towards a job later on. We're looking for a career, or it could be really, really minute. Today, we're going to go through this one slideshow. We're going to look at three pictures, and I want you to point out the differences, right? So it could be really big or small, but point out what is the outcome that you're hoping for. And so what is that goal that we're working on? And the second thing then is ask the person to get there, what do you need from me? It's a lot of times people don't know how to answer that. What do I need? They don't know how to answer that, but then put it in a way that they could do. What support do you need from me? And then you could give some examples. Do you need me to point where the differences are in the pictures? Do you want me to explain the pictures? Do you want me to show you the pictures, shut up, and go 5 feet away where I'm not looking over your shoulder? Whatever it is, but be adaptable and ask what they need from you. And then the third thing, and this is critical, seeing it's been true of my own success, is be that person who gives them unending confidence in what they do. So if it's cheering them on, if it's celebrating their victory, if it's giving them some tough love, whatever it is, but be that thing that just instills confidence. So it's the goal, it's asking them and interacting with them, how do they need your support? And then the third thing, just give them all the confidence in different ways, in a genuine ways that are like genuinely you.
So with confidence, and sometimes it can be actually quite tricky because you've talked a lot about how things have worked out really well. It can be tricky because it's not always a great day, and sometimes when it comes to anybody's career, and it doesn't discriminate careers, does it? Because you can have
Does
some
it?
real
No.
highs and you can have some real lows. How do you manage these really tricky days when supporting somebody?
Yeah, that's, that is definitely part of life. And this is back to an earlier question. This is what I love about Jigsaw. It's what I love about the sector.
Yeah.
But what I love about the work is it is really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But when things are hard, what do? I go to the people that are in this organization around me. I go to them, and I know who to go to for different things, but I always reach out in different ways because, yeah, that's what's best for me when things are hard. Is I need to be built up. I need to be refilled. I need to be provided that support to move forward or to be good at what I do. So I go to those people around me. I go to them with complaints. I go to them with praising them, things I think they've done well. I go to them with funny stories. I hope they share funny stories with me. I go to them when I share stories that I think are funny, and they look at me like, Dan, that was just a waste of 2 minutes of my time. I'm like, all right, I'll work on that. But we keep going back and forth. It's that interaction and that relationship that, for me, in the humanities, in the social services field, to me, that's priceless. And to me, that's what helps get me through the really hard days because they're there. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're not going to go away.
It really is knuckling down, isn't it? And just even when it hurts, just keep persisting because it's only from being consistent and persisting that we get to people's goals and we get to see them win and achieve. And what they experience getting knocked down in the workplace is like everybody else. It doesn't discriminate.
Right. And another part of that I say I go to my coworkers and my colleagues. One of the things that Jigsaw also does really well is celebration at the end of the day for recognizing, and we call it shout outs, but shout outs for people can give a shout out for whatever they want, but to give a shout out typically to somebody else, they're kind of cheeky sometimes to give themselves a shout out, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We do that, but the shout outs are so refreshing, and we do it so often, and people get into it that they're so genuine.
Yeah.
The shout outs that people give are really genuine to themselves, and really genuine to who they are. And so I would say successes are really celebrated. Yeah, just because people are happy about a success. And I love that.
I love the fact that you guys do shout outs. So with shout outs and with the organization that you're in, Jigsaw, like how do you pick, or like how would you consider a good support worker in your opinion?
Right. A good support worker. I think a good support worker. A lot of good. I'll say. I think there's a lot of good support workers out there. I think there's very few great support workers.
Yes, thank you. You
There's
said
very
that.
few.
There are flipping fantastic ones. It's just so annoying that you get one crappy one and they apparently all speak for us and they don't.
That's good to know.
The thing that probably sucks the most is that there are some really good support workers out there, and it just takes one crappy one in the sector that gets all the bad news, and we all get done over on it. What makes a good support worker, in your opinion, in your eyes, at Jigsaw?
The support workers that we have at Jigsaw, we call them trainers. They're the ones that are working side by side with our trainees as they come through our program. And they're essentially on-site support workers. And I do see a lot of amazing ones that come through. And what do I see as an amazing one? And what they do is the amazing ones are there to do just that. They're there not only to support, but they're really there to encourage the advancement or the success of the person. And the ones who are great, the ones who are really great, one, they care about the success. They don't fake it. It's not just a job, but they care about the success of the person they're working with. And when they do that, they're engaged, There's things that they do with encouragement, and they really do what they can to provide autonomy for the person, even if they're right there. But they try to provide autonomy for the person. Something that, and then I'm going to finish this. I'm going to give one more thing that they do, and then I'm going to finish with some things that great support workers don't do. But the other thing that a really great support worker does, well, there's two, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's actually two things. I can't count very well, but some of the things they do. One thing that they do is they celebrate the victories, or they celebrate the success of a participant or a trainee, and they use that as the primary motivator. Celebration of success. So that's one thing support worker does. The other thing that a really, really great support worker does is they know when to not support. They know when to back away so that the person could become autonomous, so that they could use their own skills, so that they could develop and grow in independence and in motivation and in just so that they can grow. And so that thing that's often overlooked, but a really great support worker does those things. Things that a great support worker doesn't do. A great support worker is not on their phone talking to their friends, engaged in something else while working with their trainee or with their participant. A great support worker also isn't doing just what they want to do and bringing their trainee or their participant along. So they're doing what the support worker is there to do, and that's support the individual. And then the third thing is the support worker, they're not the hero. The really great support worker is there to just support the person and help the person become better.
Is there anything in the NDIS that you wish would be changed to make it easier for people to get jobs?
There's a lot that I would change. To me, the problem is not so much getting the jobs. I see much more the problem is keeping the jobs and finding ways to advance. I've seen it time and time again that, people with disability, they could get a job. I think the data is out there that, getting a job really isn't the problem. Keeping a job and advancing in a job is a much bigger issue. Wage. And so I think providing those opportunities to go right into award wage and to help organizations do that. It's a tricky field. It's a tricky area to be in. There's no perfect solution. It's not infinite money. I know, and all the money that's assigned to go somewhere, I know that doesn't always go to those.
So in between the US and Australia, what's the difference between the two when it comes to our support models?
Years. So for all the things that we have similar, I was shocked by how different the disability sectors are. Absolutely shocked. So there's nothing like the NDIS. It's very far from it, from the NDIS provided. However, on the flip side, America, the US, certainly up until just recently, has been really, really, really strong on the providing, thanks to the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and that enforcement of that in things like building codes, in things like education, in things like workplace adjustments. We don't have anything like the NDIS. And so as some of those other supports are no longer there or are diminished, I'm not sure how the individuals or the families are going to, how they're going to respond. I just don't know.
Did you have a culture shock when you moved?
I did. I was not expecting. The biggest culture shock was not being able to understand, even though I'm a native English speaker. We moved to Brisbane, and my wife Jenna she would make fun of me because I would sit there and listen to a whole conversation, and I would have no idea what the other person was saying. So that was one. So that was a big culture shock. Things that I would see in America that most people would be really, really frustrated by, or really upset by, or really passionate about. Australians were, so like when it comes to traffic,
Yeah.
when it comes to people walking down the street, like, can they just move out of my? I just got to get there, and no, they're just gonna be walking and talking. In Australia, they spend a lot more time just talking and hanging out, much more so in the
So, with all your experience that you've got, do you have any career advice you'd give to any support workers out there? Or if they are watching this podcast and they love what they hear, how to apply to be an employee of Jigsaw?
way, but it is to continue to really follow your heart, follow your passions, find what some of those things that are really, really important to you, and then seek those out. It worked well for me. I went a long time and still, yeah, still wonder sometimes what I'm going to do. I came from a family where a lot of people knew exactly what they wanted to do. They were driven. They were, I don't know, I come from a hardworking family that, yeah, that doesn't really accept failure as an option. And so I was kind of hard on myself when I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. But and I look back over time, everything that I've done, I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to be engaged in the community of helping people. And so, and I've really found some really great satisfaction in working with people with disability because of what they teach me. And so I'd say if you're looking to do support work, be a student of support work. Like learn from the people that you're supporting. Don't think that you have the answers. And I think that's probably true for everything that you're going after. Be confident, but don't stop learning and don't presume that you know everything that there is to know. But just keep trying things. Just keep at it. So that's one thing. And then the other thing had to do with somebody's considering, getting into the field or wants to work for a place like Jigsaw. I'd say go and visit places. They said before, stop by the Jigsaw hubs. Probably call before you come just because we're busy and I want to make sure somebody can spend the time to welcome you. But stop in, see. It's not for everybody. And thank God everybody's not a support worker. Just like thank God I'm not a surgeon. My coffee in my hands, shake too much. I think it's a good thing. But if you're curious, come check it out. And then check out our website, of course. Check the website.
With that, you talk a lot about partnerships. What do you believe makes a really good partnership in this space?
Yeah, there's a few things that make really good partnerships. One is a shared goal and working towards the same goal. So, let's say a partnership has to have a common goal. Remember when I was working for an NDIS as an NDIS consultant a few years ago, working with two clients who were almost identical in the types of services that they provided, and almost identical. One of them, though, their goal was to make money. They wanted to make as much money as possible, and they were going to use the disability sector to do that. They weren't unethical. I didn't see them, they weren't cheating, but they were using the NDIS as a money-making tool. The other organization, almost the same model, some very similar work, their goal was they wanted to make life better for people with disability. And it was amazing to me just how easy it was for me to align with the one who wanted to make people's lives better, and how frustrating it was for me to work with the organization that just wanted to make money. And so for me, the partnership is what's the goal? What's the end? So that's one. Second thing is communication and trust. We have, like I said, excellent partnerships with both Allianz and Macmillan Shakespeare. And those two, we have excellent communication, good, bad. We're very honest. We're very upfront. When things aren't going well, we address it. When things are going well, we praise it. But we really work well together. So trust, communication, and then the third thing is really is to I should say it is just to have faith in have faith in good things going forward. We do what we can, but we can't control everything. We can't always control the outcome, but we can control just how we're going to behave or how we're going to partner with it. So those are some of the things that I think make a good partnership.
So you've answered a lot of questions tonight, and are you gatekeeping? Like, have you got any big project coming up that you're allowed to repeat? Or is it one of those you have to watch this space, Sarah?
I'd love to leave you on a cliffhanger and say, yeah, watch this space. watch this space. But that would be that wouldn't be, not only would it not be accurate. One of the things that Jigsaw has really prided ourselves on, and it's because of our mission, is that we don't. There's very, very, very few things that we hold as private or you know behind the veil. When we have things that come out, now there's some things that we legally can't talk about, or I'm not talking about clients information or things like
I'm
that.
gonna keep it hush
But as
hush.
far as right, but as far as projects go, Sarah, we are working on a few some really nice opportunities. There's a couple well-known companies that we are in conversation with, and that we've had some meetings with. And if they could come on board, I think it would really be very positive for the opportunities for people with disability, both not only coming through Jigsaw, but also opening it up to, they're quite visible in the community. So some of those would be really fantastic. And so those ones I can't really talk about yet, but we have some of those. Well, we're always working on some of those. We always have some of those in the thing. I do have a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Okay,
If you could
I'm
get
all ears.
if you could get this out in the next,
I love a bit of NDIS gossip. Come at me.
all right. It's not NDIS gossip. This is a good news story. Sorry, we don't. I don't do the gossip. I don't do the gossip. I'm a terrible gossiper. I'm
Well, you
sorry.
got me on a
It's my
cliffhanger. You've got a story to tell. I am all ears. You've got my attention. Tell me.
great. No, probably on either Friday or Monday, depending on how quickly we could get it together. And we have a great news story, good news story happening on Friday, and so after we celebrate that, as quickly as I could get my my, what would you call it, editing skills, I might just send it over to you, Sarah, and just say, here, send this through the magic machine. But no, but on Friday we have a really great event happening with one of our trainees that we're very, very excited about.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, I will wait. I'll be posted. If anybody else would like to hear from you, what is the best way to contact you or to chat about opportunities, about partnerships with you?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for offering that. LinkedIn is probably the best. Um, you can find me on LinkedIn, and sure, Sarah can just pop that in the show notes. But LinkedIn is the best. Yeah, you can certainly email me. Email me anytime. On my LinkedIn, there's actually a link now that I just put in this week. So if you want to book in a time, it's connected to my calendar, and you just go in and book in a 30-minute chat conversation. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear about what's going on with your organization and your work. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And then yeah, phone. I'm available by phone. I'm just not as quick with it.
Yeah.
It's perfectly okay. I'm just not as quick.
So
LinkedIn is usually probably the best.
yeah. And then from LinkedIn, you can also go to the website Jigsaw. What is the website address for anybody that's listening?
Yeah, it's a jigsawaustralia.com.au.
Yep. And they can follow
It's our
the
full name,
links to
jigsawaustralia.com.
contacts and a bit of everything. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight for this podcast. I can't wait to show everyone all the mischief you get up to.